go, Taylor.
There are 4 things we look at. F-A-S-T. F, focus. A, your alignment. S, your stability. T, your timing. Timing with the ground. As you know yourself, that tempo off the ground. Because they're running slow also, they can concentrate on their technique of running.
Yeah.
They can think about their running. They don't have to think about what position I'm in or who's going to make a move in the group or...
Everything is controlled.
Correct. Everything is controlled.
Is this still just part of their warm-up at the moment?
No,
or
well,
is this the actual
this is
workout?
It now. This is the workout.
And they won't go any harder than whatsoever?
This is it.
The training you do, we talk about threshold training, and that's done at about 82 to 88% of your max, close to 90% of max heart rate even. It's pretty hard. I would call that comfortably hard. This is easy. This is comfortably hard, threshold training. And what's the purpose of threshold training? Well, if you were to measure the blood lactate in your blood, it would be about 1 millimole at rest. As you sit here, you're producing blood lactate and you're clearing it. Most of it goes into the blood and goes to the liver, and the liver turns it back into a carbohydrate fuel. Or other muscle fibers use it as fuel. So here's your resting blood lactate. You start running easy and it doesn't even go up. What you're measuring in your blood is not production of lactate, you're measuring accumulation. And accumulation is the difference between how much are you producing and how fast are you clearing it. So you start running and you clear as fast as you increase the production of it. Okay? You go a little faster and it might go up a little. And then at some point it just starts going up like that. Well, this is your threshold we talk about. There's a speed of running beyond which blood lactate accumulation will start rising continually. It won't plateau anymore. So in other words, your threshold is the speed of running where lactate accumulation will steady state. And if you go any slower than that, it goes away. If you go any faster than that, it keeps climbing. So this is a steady state of lactate accumulation. And that lactate, you can race for about an hour at that speed. A good runner would run a whole half marathon at that speed, at threshold speed. And somebody else might only run a 10K. It takes them an hour to run a 10K. I mean, you can race for about an hour at your threshold. So it would be nice if we could shift that to a faster speed, wouldn't it? Now, you want to improve some physiological function in your body, you've got to stress that function. But you want to stress it at the lowest intensity that stresses it. So you want to train at that speed right there, at your threshold speed. Not beyond it. Train at it, and not below it. So that's why you do threshold training. That improves your endurance, in other words.
Strides, we always do strides. Yes, we do strides after pretty much all runs, unless it's a workout. Yeah, well, I mean, they do rope stretching, which is active isolation stretching. The Whartons is kind of where I get it from, and we put a little twist of our own stuff in there. So we always rope stretch, and then we do the glute activation stuff, and that's why they have the green bands, and it's important. I mean, people think if you ever have glute injuries, I mean, this literally saved Nico from he had a lot of glute issues, and we fixed this and we addressed it. But to me, it's like, you know, there's stuff that I'm adding to my program this year. You know, I'm really big on foot strike, and I'm kind of doing a lot of research on that, and I want to see, you know, the perfect foot strike and like just like the strength in that whole lower part of your leg and stuff like that. Now, some of it might be a wash, and I do a lot of research and I'll never use it, but I just think you always have to be doing something. I get a little bit from the Whartons again, Jim and Phil Wharton. You know, that's kind of their routine, but then we added stuff to it. Okay. It's just a lot of that stuff is what I started trying to learn more about that because of our girls were getting a lot of hip injuries or hip soreness, and it's like that. So we work on our hips and we work on our hamstrings and stuff like that. So, I mean, the thing is, when you do all this stuff, you don't always know if it's working, but if people are injury free, hopefully that means it's working because it's preventative. You can't do it after the fact. So speed is like speed developmental stuff. We'll do, you know, even if it's like 200s, 150s, you know, during cross-country season on a grass field where we go every 50 meters gets faster, but the last 50 is like all out fast. Like, I want you maxed. So it's like, I just think using that, and first of all, it works on your form, it works on your turnover. There's a lot of other things, and we'll video that, we'll watch your form. And we've had some freshmen that have just completely transformed from just, I think, doing those speed days. Well, tempo means different thing to different people. Let's take a 4 flat miler, someone who runs 4 flat in the mile, or let's say 4:10, a good high school guy, right? 4:10 in the mile. So he's a pretty solid runner. Usually my rule of thumb, and it's not always the case, but let's take a minute, you add a minute to that, that's 5:10. You should be able to tempo at 4 miles at 5:10 pace comfortably. If you're not, then you're aerobically challenged. But that's a good thing, because to me, the aerobic side is the easiest thing to fix in an athlete. So if you could learn, and there's different things that we do to get there, but if you could learn how to tempo and hold back when you need to hold back. I mean, I told my guys yesterday in a tempo, it's like, I know which girls I had a few girls that were like racing a little too much. Yeah. They'll learn though, you know, and it's like, you know, and then they race and they only race like 20 seconds faster. You should not be racing 20 seconds faster in a 3-mile tempo than it's a learning curve. It takes long to figure out, but like the thing is but my best athletes listen young and they start young, and we'll do cruise miles. We do a mile, minute rest to teach them how to hit that pace. And then eventually they're doing 3-4 miles. I think 4 miles is a key in high school. I mean, you're racing 3 miles or 5K, so you should be able to tempo at 4 miles. 5 miles would be nice too, but.
build him up now, so he'll do this faster and faster. In a sense, you do certain things to distract the body. Because there's things going to be going on around you in a race, and even your arms and your legs are almost a distraction to your core strength. But can your core strength hold firm during the whole race? Or, as happened to many athletes, it collapses. So suddenly, the hands start to flail, the legs start to wobble, the head starts to roll. So suddenly you've lost control of your... And so it's the core strength that's going to sustain. So you kind of, in a sense, as you know, you kind of almost lock it into position before the race starts.
The tendency for them is to be intense about their training all the time. Over here, it's to be relaxed about their training. Every single session you do, you don't have to get the very best out of yourself. They warmed up for 10 minutes, and then they did 30 minutes of diagonal running on a football pitch. They came away not feeling exhausted, but they came away feeling like they could really do more. Whereas we have a tendency to try and run ourselves into the ground, and if we don't get sick at the end of a session, then we're not benefiting from it. Over here, it's totally the opposite.
equivalent to come back again. It's like you are one family, and it's like that you are so one of the members okay, went for vacation for about 2 months and then come back. It's really good reunion again, and the reunion is whereby you start build-ups, and that's the beginning. The gym sessions a day, we are doing 3 times a week, and each time it takes 2.5 hours. And in 2.5 hours, we are running on steps and carrying weights. And then after that, we go to chain, come back, go for aerobics. After finishing the aerobics, we do some exercises with the weights. And then lastly is the flexibility exercises. Yes. And the total time is 2 hours, 35 minutes. I absolutely enjoy it. This is the part whereby we are about that people, and it's really enjoyable.